So I received this comment the other day asking about the vegan face, and then I saw this article from way back in 2017 talking about it, the vegan face. So the vegan face, what is it? Well, basically, some people think that if you stay vegan for long enough, you will end up, or you'll likely end up, looking older with like a sunken in kind of look, more wrinkles. So first, do we see this in the vegan community? And yeah, to some degree at least. I think we can probably all think of maybe a handful of prominent vegans who have a sort of thin, sunken in, kind of tired look. I'm not going to name names, obviously, because I'm not that fucking mean. It ain't me. I'm a meaty chick. I'm a thick girl. My 6-year-old says thick boy now. What have I done? But is this caused by veganism? So one of the most obvious causes of this look is thinness, lack of body fat. If someone is thin, that can affect the amount of body fat in their face. If someone is older, say like over 30, this can be compounded by the fact that we already lose fat in our face as we age. So a 35-year-old vegan already has some volume loss in their face, probably. Getting thin on top of that can accentuate that by having even less volume in the face and potentially make them look older. I think this before and after of Stephanie Buttermore shows this effect pretty well. She is extremely thin in the first photo, and you can see that in her face. I mean, she looks like a different person almost. You can see that sort of smile, that cute smile she has, but otherwise, I mean, it really looks like a different person. To me, she looks a lot older in the first photo versus the second, even though the second one, she's older, right? That's what she looks like now. I'm not saying this is all due to fat gain. If someone's an influencer, I basically assume they have had some amount of work done, but regardless, there's no denying that lack of volume in the face can make us look older and more rundown. Stephanie is not vegan, but vegans do tend to be lean, much leaner than meat eaters on average, which makes sense. We tend to eat much healthier than your average meat eater. A lot more fiber, a lot more water, a lot more nutrients per calorie, lower calorically dense foods, and the healthier you eat, the less likely you are to be overweight. All of the vegans I can think of with some sort of vegan face are thinner. I mean, I can't think of a single overweight person, vegan or not, who has that sort of look. The two don't really go together. And of course, genetics play a large role as well. Some people just store more fat in their face, so they're able to get fairly lean and still look youthful and plump, in the cheeks. On the other hand, if you have really prominent cheekbones, that can accentuate the sunken in look if you get really thin. The other big one is collagen. It breaks down faster as we age, we make less of it, and what we do make is worse quality. So yeah, hooray. And just like with low body fat, that is for everyone, not just vegans. You can try getting extra from supplements. Meat really doesn't make a lot of sense because it doesn't have a lot of collagen unless you are eating very specific animal parts that most of us don't eat. But yeah, you can try getting extra from supplements. But as I said in this video about a year ago, now there actually is some evidence that collagen that has been ingested can improve your skin elasticity and even wrinkles. The studies are small and often not terrific quality, but it does seem like consuming collagen might help a little. And while I'm sure we will have vegan collagen at some point, we don't yet. So any of the powder collagen supplements that you see on the market are not vegan. They have the collagen boosters, which contain nutrients that might help you produce more collagen, but actual vegan collagen that you consume does not exist yet. But you can try to eat certain nutrients to maybe boost collagen production. We know vitamin C is very important, zinc, protein, copper maybe. If your vegan diet is lower in those nutrients, maybe you produce less collagen. As far as wrinkles go, that's also partly environmental and partly genetic. Obviously, if you get lots of sun exposure, and some vegans really like their sun and really don't like sunscreen. And again, less fat in the face, the less volume we have, the more enhanced our wrinkles can be, easier to see. So could a vegan diet cause the vegan face? So stupid, the vegan face. Could a vegan diet cause you to look older? Well, if your vegan diet causes you to lose body fat, to get really thin, you could lose fat in your face, which could make you look a little more tired and like sunken in, make your wrinkles more noticeable. But is there something intrinsic to veganism that makes people look older? No, there is no evidence for that. If anything, the evidence points to fruits and vegetables having properties that possibly make our skin look better and make us look more youthful. A couple other things I've seen associated with veganism: dark circles under the eyes, or periorbital hyperpigmentation. So this might be caused by certain nutrient deficiencies. There isn't a whole lot of evidence for that, but it does make sense. A deficiency in iron, B12, or vitamin D can cause less oxygen to reach this area. They can also make us appear paler overall, which can make this area appear darker. And iron, B12, and D are all nutrients of concerns for vegans. It's very easy to not get enough of these if you don't pay attention, if you don't make sure you are eating iron-rich foods, if you don't supplement for B12, if you don't supplement for vitamin D or spend time in the sun. That doesn't mean if you have dark circles under your eyes that you have a nutrient deficiency.
In the study I mentioned earlier, only half of the participants were deficient in iron.
Which is not surprising because a lot of things can cause dark circles under the eyes or make them more noticeable. Aging, again, of course, as we age, our skin gets thinner, making the veins underneath more noticeable. Fat loss. If you Google dark circles and weight loss, you will find numerous posts from people talking about this, about losing weight and ending up looking more tired or older because you can see the circles under their eyes more. Genetics: 63% of the 200 participants in this study had family members with dark circles. Stress, lack of sleep, lack of water, too much sun, allergies, which is super funny. Too little sun can cause it because you end up being paler relative to this area, right? Makes it appear darker, but also too much sun can make it worse, can make this area darker. So yeah, we can't win. So could a vegan diet cause dark circles? Well, if you eat a vegan diet and you don't, say, supplement for B12 and you end up with dark circles as a result, yeah. But is there something intrinsic to veganism that causes periorbital hyperpigmentation? No, there is no evidence that a vegan diet causes dark circles. Pale skin. Well, again, iron and B12 deficiencies can certainly make us more pale, and vegans can certainly end up with iron and B12 deficiencies if we are not paying attention. But more likely, if you look pale, it's because you don't get a lot of sun. I'm a really good example of this. If you go back and look at videos from me from 6 or 7 years ago, you'll notice my skin is quite a bit darker, even though I'd already been vegan for 6 or 7 years. Why? Well, I lived in the South instead of a place that rains half the year, and I got a decent amount of sun, and I did not wear sunscreen. And just because someone is pale doesn't mean they're anemic. So weird. I've had my iron levels tested a lot because I've been pregnant 3 times in the last 6 years, 7 years. Holy shit. And every time my iron levels have been pretty good because I take a multivitamin and I eat some iron and vitamin C with that iron. So could a vegan diet cause you to look pale? I got a burp. If you don't eat enough iron and you end up anemic as a result, possibly. But is there anything intrinsic to veganism that causes our skin to look pale? No, there's no evidence for that. In fact, eating lots of certain fruits and vegetables with lots of beta carotene and whatnot, can give you a sort of orangey appearance. I actually used to have that in my hands when I ate lots and lots of fruits and vegetables. The palms of my hands looked quite orange. It's very weird. And when I was a baby, I loved carrots so much that I had an orange tint to my skin. That would be a fun experiment, to just eat tons and tons of carrots and pumpkin and sweet potato and cantaloupe and all that shit for like a month and see if it changes your skin tone. So if you're worried about the vegan face, realize that it's not intrinsic to veganism. It really has nothing to do with veganism at its core. Your genetic potential for collagen loss, for the amount of fat you store in your face, for wrinkles, is the same whether you eat meat or not. Fat loss in the face is fat loss in the face, whether you eat meat or not. Just eat healthfully. Make sure you are getting iron and B12 and vitamin D and vitamin C and all the nutrients you're supposed to be getting, right? Not just for your appearance, but for your overall health. It's really bad if you're not getting enough vitamin C. And don't get too lean. And also remember, we're just talking about appearance here. There's no evidence that having a leaner face is bad for your health. Again, generally being leaner is better for your health. Obviously, you don't want to be too lean, and there is a correlation with lower body fat and hip fractures as we age, so you do want a little bit of cushion, but it is something that we have to balance if we care about our facial appearance. You will find lots of articles about this, mostly for women. I guess men don't really care about this. Losing your fanny or your face. Do you want a good body as you're older, or do you want a youthful face? And also, just because something makes your face look better or causes some other sort of attribute that you like doesn't mean that it's healthy. Something I've talked about before, when I ate almost exclusively fruit, my sweat did not smell at all, and it was fantastic. But was it healthy for me to eat almost fruit, all fruit? Because even when I started eating more greens, like, the smell came back. Was that healthy? No. Finally, we really need to be careful not to assume things from people's looks, especially people who are on camera. Number one, again, influencers might have had work done. We have no idea. The camera can distort things. Positioning of the camera can distort things, right? Take a photo of yourself at eye level and then take a photo at arm's length above your head. You look quite different, often quite a bit thinner. Filters exist, makeup exists, lighting can dramatically change how someone looks. I talked about that in this video. And finally, please stop watching anti-vegan shit. I'm willing to bet $1 million that this is where the vegan face shit is coming from. Obviously, I'm not against listening to people with opposite views, but there are people out there, channels out there, seemingly their sole purpose is to do what I just said, to scrutinize people's looks from their videos and then to make like sweeping health claims based on that, right? To say they're unhealthy or something because they have this look, or to do that with their children, scrutinize their children's appearance or mannerisms. One of the only videos I've seen from one of these channels was exactly that. They were taking a little clip from a popular vegan YouTuber's video of one of her kids and like slowing down the footage and zooming in and trying to show, I don't even know what, that like the way the kid was talking was wrong and it was because of veganism, and it was just the kid like being a kid and talking. Oh my God. Any content like that, vegan or not, please ignore it. Please do not watch it to downvote it. That is still helping if you're watching and engaging with content. Please don't do that. Please don't ask me to talk about it, because I will not ever. For my own sanity, I will not watch that shit. The bad part of me gets really angry. The good part of me gets really sad. I mean, I can't help but think, what is going on in their lives to lead them to this, to that kind of behavior. And yeah. But yeah, that's the vegan face. I'm sure there's other components of it I'm not aware of. I'm sure acne. My skin is clear no matter what I eat. I'm very, very lucky. On the other hand, my partner has a whole like skincare routine. He has very nice skin as long as he does, certain things. I can just put coconut oil on my face and I'm fine. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed this and got something out of it. Subscribe, of course, if you want to see more stuff like this. Like the video, of course, if you did like it. Hit the bell if you want to be notified when I upload a new video. Thank you so much to my patrons at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. I'm going to have the first exclusive video for $5 plus patrons up pretty soon. That's it for me. Thanks again, guys. New video soon. I need a mirror closer to me. I cannot see the other viewfinder because I don't have my glasses on. No idea. The shadow from the lights was just ridiculous, so I took them off. But, yeah, can't really see. And look who's back. A little worse for wear. I mean, he's always been a little worse for wear, I guess, but he's more squished. He was in 6-year-old's bed for a while, and then they were like, I don't want him anymore. Nobody wants him. Why? He's precious.